The poster pitch is Mad Max meets Dawn of the Dead. So if you like Mad Max and you like Dawn of the Dead, like, you're going to like the Wyrmwood world, like, for sure. This is a film where we start off with a head explosion and then we pretty much keep that going for about 96 minutes. It's a wild, incredibly semi-hyper-violent fantasy comic book world, and subtlety it ain't. If I had to describe myself in a single sentence, if somebody called me the Australian Sam Raimi, I wouldn't be upset, put it that way. So, you know, the fact that Sam Raimi, or Peter Jackson, if you want to come at it from a New Zealand angle, you know, these are guys who kind of went out and made their own films on their own dime in their own way. And they're famously horror film directors. That's kind of where I'm at. The filmmakers who create a world, you know, and that's what I like to do. I like to create a really crazy, insane fantasy world and then live in it for 96 minutes. One of the great things about this film is, you know, we had final cut. Our producer, Blake Northfield, approached us with a great pitch for the sequel. He said, boys, I'm going to get you the money. I'm going to lift professionally from the first film. I'm going to put together a crew and an amazing cast of characters and people for you guys to work with, and then I'm going to get out of the way creatively, which is what he did. So we were able to make exactly the film that we wanted, which is a very rare thing these days, even in independent film. Film is a team sport. You can't do it on your own. If you want to do it on your own, become a painter or an author, not a filmmaker, because you've got to work with a bunch of people. You have to pick your collaborators very carefully. And if you and your collaborator have a respect and you're both making the same thing, you're already halfway there. Whether it's successful or whether people like it or not, obviously that's a big deal to me. But at the same time, I'm not really bothered because I like the film. I mean, I just wanted to go back to exactly my style, which is just high-end, frenetic, take a comic book, put it on screen. You know, like, my brother and I really grew up reading comic books, you know, X-Men, Punisher, even 2000 AD, and I wanted to get that up on screen. With this one, I really kind of wanted to let myself go a little bit. I wanted to be able to leave a shot slightly longer than necessary. I wanted to slow the pace down a little bit. I know once you see the film, it's like, oh my God, like, it's pretty full on, but that's actually me trying to slow down every now and again. I really wanted to insert some kind of beauty in between the exploding heads. I have a style that's pretty intense. I don't know if I have a philosophy, but you know, like, if it isn't interesting, I cut it. Like, it's that simple. So I like a film that moves, you know, and whether it's a slow scene or a fast scene, it's got to move. It's got to feel dynamic. The budget is hard. It was definitely under 3 million, but it kind of goes up, and I don't know the budget because, like, I think I know the budget, and then Blake will tell you it's for. Like, all I know is, like, it was small. It was a really intense shoot just because the budget was incredibly small. We shot it in 6 weeks, and then we had an extra day of shooting paid for by Screen Australia. So the opening scene of the film wasn't originally in the cut, and we got to the finished cut and we went, it's missing something. So we made a pitch to Screen Australia. They gave us an extra day, thank God. So we got a grant funding to have that opening scene, which is honestly one of the best scenes in the film. So 6 weeks and 1 day is how long we had to shoot it. We shot the entire thing out on an ex-fruit farm in Dural. Because it was COVID, we all stayed on a caravan park, you know, about 10 minutes down the road. We stayed in a bubble, so we just rented out an entire park and the whole crew stayed out there. And so, I mean, we were so bubbleized that we didn't even have a single case of a cold, let alone COVID. I think we used like over 1,000 litres of fake blood. That farm was pretty green when we arrived. It was red when we left. Just hundreds of pounds of prosthetics would have been used. Every single scene had a zombie or something that had to be built. We spent about 3 or 4 months constructing the sets out there on the farm. Everything's pretty much practical. The muzzle flashes and the head explosions are all digital. Everything else you see is practical. So I have an obsession with practical. I think that if you build it and it's real on screen, you can tell. And there's nothing worse than low-budget digital effects. So the digital effects that we have on screen, even though we have a fair amount of them, we used very minimally and only in conjunction with a practical effect. So there's nothing that's completely digitally created. It's all a hybrid of real stuff and just a little bit of digital. Yeah. You know, so if anything, that's a big philosophy of mine. You know, I didn't get into this game to shoot on green screen. I got into this game so that I could have a 6-foot-tall zombie cyborg coming at me. And like, I have to actually get out of the way or they'll smash the camera. That's what I like to do. I want to finish the end of a shooting day and I have to wipe the gore off myself. That's how I want to make movies. It's always weird to get an email from a camera house going, can you please wipe the brains off the cameras before returning them? I would say with the films that I make, the amount of setups that I need to get done on a daily basis and the fact that we can't afford overtime means that the only way you're going to get your schedule done is by storyboards. There was a key sequence, the post-credit sequence, where he sort of wakes up in his compound and goes through his routine. That was a day where we had 96 setups. And the only way we were able to get through that is because I storyboarded every single shot and we stuck to the storyboards. We didn't stuff around. We didn't stop shooting. We got there, we had breakfast, we unpacked the cameras. We didn't stop shooting until the end of the day. We had 3 cameras going constantly and we got 96 setups. And the only way to do that is by following the storyboards. Now, luckily I can draw, I can write, and I can draw, and I can edit. So those things really save time because I shoot to edit, so I know exactly what I need. So I'm only getting the little pieces that I know are going to work in the edit. So I'm never short at the end of the day because I know what I need as an editor. I can draw, so I draw all my own storyboards myself. And on an action day, there's no time for improv. The only improv you're doing is like, well, that was supposed to be on the left-hand side of frame, but it's on the right, so we're going to have to rejig everything, go, 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 go. There's no time for motivation. What will my character be thinking here? Maybe if we did. No, there's no maybe. It's like we're sticking to the storyboards and we're shooting, and that's how we make our day. So to get 96 setups in a day is all down to the professionalism of the crew, the preparation that you do, and the storyboards that are sitting on your lap. It's a very, very important part of the process, part of my process anyway.